I was just talking to that lady back there. And I turn around and I see the flight attendant standing by herself at the back of the plane. I made her cry. I hope that's okay. I said, well, Gabriel, it might depend on what you actually said to this woman, Well, she saw my Homeboy Industries shirt and she saw all my tattoos. I don't know. She asked me a gang of questions. So I gave her a tour of the office. At 34,000 feet, Gabriel walks this woman through the office, introduces her to the job developers, hands her goggles so she can watch tattoos being removed on the premises, gives her a hairnet so she can observe rival gang members baking bread together. Then I told her last night we made history. For the first time in the history of this country, 3 gang members walked into the White House. We had dinner there. I told her the food tasted nasty. And she cried. I said, well, Gabriel, what you expect? She just caught a glimpse of you. She saw that you are somebody. She recognized you as the shape of God's heart. People cry sometimes when they see that. And suddenly kinship so quickly. 2 souls feeling their worth being returned to themselves. Flight attendant, gang member, 34,000 feet. It's mutual. It's mutual. That you may be one. And so as you inch your way out to the margins and stand with the people who nobody else will, and the circle widens because of you, people will accuse you of wasting your time. But in this place of which you say it is a waste, there will be heard again the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voices of those who sing. And so we commit ourselves today to make those voices heard all over again. For the vision still has its time, presses on to fulfillment, and it will not disappoint. And if it delays, wait for it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're very kind. We'll just do maybe three, 4 questions. Nothing too big. Because did I mention there was a book out there? Okay. Yes, you go like this. I'll go like that. I'll repeat the question. Yes, ma'am.
Homies have some substance abuse issues. What have you found is the key to them staying clean and sober?
Yeah, the question is about homies who might have substance abuse issues and what's the secret to kind of keep them. It's an interesting thing. Homies sell drugs but don't use drugs. They'll smoke bud, But they would say that this was not a problem. And it's funny that we run a rehab center, and so the addiction is gang involvement. Once they get rid of that, sometimes and they start to look at their issues and deal with their inner life, then often enough they start to get high. It's really a remarkable, phenomenal thing. So we have lots of programs for it. We're endlessly sending people to rehab, and then we welcome them when they come back. But it's funny, once they substitute one addiction, often enough another one, and they'll say this to me all the time, wow, here I am 27 years old, drugs haven't been an issue for me. And suddenly it is, or drinking, it becomes pronounced. So At Homeboy Industries, it's a therapeutic community, and what we engage in above all is attachment repair. That the profile of any gang member is somebody who comes from a disordered attachment. Mom was frightening or frightened, and you can't really calm yourself down if you've never been soothed. And so that's what happens at Homeboy Industries. It's a place where you're held unconditionally, and then you re-identify who you are in the world, and then you gain a certain kind of resilience that enables you to go beyond our place. And then the world will throw at you what it will, but it won't topple you because now you know the truth of who you are. That, in a nutshell, is what the hope of Homeboy is. It's not just job, because job gives you a reason to get up in the morning and a reason not to gangbang the night before. But it's also this other piece that's essential, and I think it's what makes Homeboy kind of unique. I was talking to somebody in my office, one of my senior staff, and this little knucklehead kid stands in my door, and I'm talking over here, and I say, "Hey, ¿qué onda? What's up?" And his name is Eric, and he has little 46 tattooed on his face. That's the name of his gang, 46th Street. It's not typical for a kid 14 to have that on his face. It's usually older guys, but released from a probation camp, he goes to our school, he works in our janitorial crew, and he stands in my door. "What is it, Miko?" "I discovered something today." I said, "What's that?" "This place works." Then he walks. Well, I turned to the staff person, I said, "That's the sound of community trumping gang." And that's the way it works. Because real community, which everybody here is familiar with and capable of creating, real community shines a light on what was hollow and empty in the gang life. And only until real community can shine that light, then you start to say, "Wow, those people didn't have my back. You guys have my back." You know what I mean? That's the idea. Good question. Yes, sir.
I'd like to mention the name, Jerry Halfridge.
Yeah.
It goes back a few years.
Yeah.
I'm sure today you'd be extremely proud of him.
Oh, thank you very much. He mentions Jerry Helfrich, who's one of my heroes and beloved brother who's watching over us. And he taught me how to community organize in Oakland, my God, 38 years ago or something. Thank you for mentioning him. Yes, sir, back there.
Thank you, first of all, for all the work that you do. Involved with Homeboy Industries, is there any part of what your organization does to get out to the kids prior to getting involved with gangs as good examples?
Yeah, the question is sort of about gang prevention. We do something that's really a specialized thing, which is gang intervention and rehab. So the idea would be there are kids who don't join gangs, the under 14 crowd. How do you keep it that way? And so people need to engage teachers, communities, faith communities in prevention. And how do you do that? We don't do that because we already have our hands full. The point is you want the community to do that. So nobody in this room has ever met a hopeful kid who joined a gang. It's never happened in the history of kids. It's never happened in the history of gangs. Hopeful kids don't join gangs. Period. The end. Never. This is about a lethal absence of hope. It's not about kids who aren't scared enough. It's about kids who aren't hopeful enough. Gangs are the places kids go when they've encountered their life as a misery, and who doesn't know by now that misery loves company? So kids are not seeking anything when they join a gang. They're always fleeing something, always. Any exceptions? Never. So if you knew that, what's the best delivery system of hope to a kid for whom hope is foreign? People with a pulse. Human beings. You. So that's the task of everybody. What we do is sort of specialized, and it's the same idea with drug rehab. Drug prevention is trying to keep kids from using drugs. But once they start to use drugs, you change the paradigm. You go, okay, now we're going to deal with intervention and rehab. It's different. And this is why all hands on deck. There's no part of this that's rarefied, specialized, professionalized that needs to lead anybody in this church from disqualifying themselves. We had a question over here somewhere, I think. Yes, ma'am.
You speak about mutual kinship. What do you think is stopping people every day from, keeping everyone separate? What's stopping us?
Yeah, what's keeping us from mutuality in